So, what is anxiety exactly? I work with a lot of individuals and have a lot of people that I interact with on a daily basis. And I was surprised at how many people didn't recognize or understand what anxiety actually is. And when exactly is the time where you may need some help? Or you may need to ask or seek professional services or professional help because your anxiety is becoming too much. Now, with anxiety, it's something that we all experience, right? You know, all of us have had the nervousness in our stomachs before a test. All of us have had a first date or a first experience with friends, job interviews. So we experience anxiety as a natural part of life, and it definitely is. It's something that all of us will experience at one point or another. So how do you tell the difference between when anxiety is normal day-to-day anxiety or something that is a little bit more serious? And let me answer that question for you. So what is anxiety? It's excessive worry. It's really a fear of the unknown. It's not being able to control, that lack of control, not knowing what's going to happen next. When you're sitting waiting for a job interview, you don't know the questions they're going to ask. And so it leaves you feeling anxious. So anxiety is that excessive worry, those excessive thoughts. A lot of people describe it as they can't turn their brain off. So they're at home, they're in bed, they're thinking, but they can't turn their brain off. And it's really hard for them to go to sleep. Or it's hard for them to stay focused. These are all symptoms of anxiety: excessive worry, difficulty concentrating, can't fall asleep because your mind is going a million miles a minute. You find yourself easily distracted. You find yourself scared to go places, maybe because you've catastrophized so much about what may happen. So this one job interview turns into you not being able to get a job ever. And so you don't go to the interview. And so when anxiety starts to impact you in various aspects of your life, so your personal interactions with family, job, if you find that you're not able to complete tasks as quickly as usual, your interactions with peers or family members or coworkers, if people are telling you, what, you seem a little bit on edge lately, is everything okay? Or your children telling you, Mom, you worry too much, or Dad, geez, let it go, it's not that serious. These are all cues that maybe your anxiety is reaching a point where it may be negatively impacting you in more ways than one, and that may be an opportunity for you to seek professional help or see a counselor, once again, just to learn some additional tools on how to deal with your anxiety. So what are some of the thinking traps that people get caught in? And I'm going to give you a few. These are the thinking traps that people get caught in that usually end up exacerbating anxiety. So one is black-white thinking, which is all or nothing thinking, where everything has to be perfect or it's horrible. So either you made a perfect score on that test or you did horribly wrong. Or you performed perfect at this volleyball game or it was absolutely crap. So living in those two, black or white, and there are no shades of gray, that usually increases anxiety. Another thinking trap or cognitive distortion is what we refer to it in therapy would be fortune telling. And this one, everyone's guilty of, right? And so all of these thinking traps I'm telling you, everyone's guilty of at one point or another. The difference between the person who has extreme anxiety or extreme depression is these thinking traps, you fall in them and you can't get out. They just run. And before you know it, you're having a panic attack or you can't sleep or you've missed out on a great opportunity. So going back to the fortune telling, it's when you think you can predict the future, right? That's what a fortune teller does. And so with fortune telling, it's you walk into work and you already have mapped out what you think your day is going to be. I already know I'm going to go into the office. My supervisor is going to tell me this. The lady across from me is going to make an ugly face. There's going to be a list of emails that I can't get to, and you already have this prediction. The thing with the fortune telling is that most of the time when we're fortune telling, we're doing negative things. We're not creating this fantasy story that's going to leave us feeling motivated and happy in the end. We usually end up having a horrible ending. And so fortune telling is another one of those thinking traps that, if negative, will definitely leave you with increased anxiety. Another one is mind reading. When you think you know what another person is thinking, or you assume, and we all know what they say about assumptions, right? And so when you assume you know what your spouse is thinking, when you assume you know what your child is thinking, when you assume you know your boss hates you, so you walk into work, you pass by your supervisor in the hallway, they don't speak, maybe you say hi and they say nothing to you, and you automatically jump to, I already know that they're thinking that they don't like me because I was 5 minutes late for work last week. Or they don't like me because I'm not as productive as the other workers. And you already have this as though you're a fortune teller once again, or a mind reader, where you know what a person's thinking, and none of us know what a person is thinking. We may have a good inclination, we may have a good guess, but none of us truly know what another person is thinking. And once again, like with the fortune telling, with the mind reading, we're usually not assuming that they're thinking something really positive. We're thinking they're thinking something really negative. And it's usually something that's really critical of ourselves. And when we do the mind reading, it really leaves us at a place of feeling defeated. We're very self-critical, and it really leaves us feeling anxious. And so those are a couple. Another one is catastrophizing, where one small incident turns into this huge mountain. So you giving a speech and you stumble across one word turns into your supervisor never asking you to give any more speeches, and all of a sudden you're never going to get that promotion. And because you're not going to get this promotion, your kids and your family are going to starve, and your husband's going to go leave you and find someone else, and it becomes this, you catastrophize. And when simply no one might have even noticed that you stumbled. And so that's another one. So there are lots there. Those are just a few to give you, to just be mindful of in case you fall into those traps. How to get out? You have to pause, think, take a breath, and then ask yourself, what is the likelihood that this would actually happen? And another question that you can ask yourself is, how often has this happened before? Has this happened to me before? That's another question. So those two questions are some quick, surefire ways that may bring you back to the here and now. So what's the likelihood of this happening? And has this happened to me before? And typically when we're falling into those thinking traps, the answer to both of those is no. If you find that very, very difficult, my suggestion to you would be to seek some counseling in your area. And that way there may be other tips and tools that you can learn to address your anxiety symptoms.